Jalen Hurts, we know that the Chiefs are going to try to sell out to slow Saquon Barkley down. Getting Jalen Hurts going through the air is the key to this victory with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, whoever they want to throw the ball to. But on a bigger level here, we know that Spags likes to throw a lot of disguises out, a lot of exotic blitzes, probably the most that Jalen Hurts will have seen this year. He's gotten so much better against the blitz. He's gotten so much better at not turning the ball over. And remember, the kryptonite for every team facing the Philadelphia Eagles is that tush-push. 2 years ago when they were in the same spot playing Kansas City in the Super Bowl, they scored twice with it. With Jalen
and Hurts had 3 touchdowns in that game. So that's 3 Eagles now for most important player, 2 for Hurts. It's almost like it's on a tee here for you, Harry Lyles Jr., most important player on Sunday.
Tony, it's Patrick Mahomes.
What a novel idea. How does he do it?
And that might seem like the most obvious answer, but as my 3 panelists mentioned, a lot of the things that the Eagles are great at, the Chiefs' defense is going to have to stop. And you have to hope for that to happen. That's how we've been talking about this game for the last 2 weeks. What can the Chiefs defense do to slow down this Eagles offense? If they do it to Saquon, can Jalen Hurts beat them with his arm? They've got great receivers. We know all that. You know who's not playing defense? Patrick Mahomes. You don't want him to play defense because he's the best quarterback in the NFL and the best quarterback that I've ever seen in my lifetime. If he is the quarterback that most of us think that he is going to have to be that player on Sunday if they are going to win this football game.
All right, somebody had the nerve, the gall to select Patrick Mahomes as the most important player Sunday. Well, let's keep this pace going. Most important unit Sunday. Highest rank of any of the units is Philly's defense. And you know the axiom, defense wins championships. That is more true than untrue. The better ranked defense has won 39 of the 58 Super Bowls. So Tim Kalishaw, back around the horn to you. Yes. Most important unit Sunday.
Clinton Yates touched on this personally in his personal answer when he was talking in this first time. But it's the Eagles' offensive line. They are maybe the best unit in the league, but they got to deal with Steve Spagnuolo and all those exotic Chief blitzes.
Oh, so exotic.
And it doesn't seem to matter when you watch the Chiefs. They find a way to trash the quarterback at the worst times. And Hurts does get sacked, and they've got to watch that. So they've got to handle the blitz. They've got to be able to have 6 guys blocking 6 guys and make it work. They did it against Washington so smoothly. You'd think they could do it all the time. It's a different test against Kansas City.
Most important unit for you, Clint Yates.
It's the Eagles wide receiver core. Just as I mentioned that Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy, who he gets it to as far as their game plan goes is going to be imperative. They did so many things on the ground against the Commanders, but every time they needed just one pass or one big play down the field and took those shots, they got them. If they're going to win this game, that's how they're going to have to do it. I don't think the Chiefs are going to allow Barkley to run roughshod. I think you're going to have to find a way for Jalen to get it to those guys, and they got to make sure they make those catches, because you could argue that every game they lost this year, the Eagles, was because of their wide receivers.
Most important unit, Courtney Cronin.
It's the Eagles' front 7. We know that Patrick Mahomes is essentially perfect when the game is on the line. We've seen what happens when the game wreckers like Jalen Carter take advantage of those moments like he did against the Rams in the divisional playoffs. And I look at someone like Nolan Smith, who's 3rd right now throughout the postseason and the regular season in pressures for this team. You know who he's going to be lined up against? Jawan Taylor, more times than not. He's led the Chiefs in allowing pressures throughout the season. It's going to come down to some well-timed up plays from Vic Fangio in this unit. And we know if Patrick Mahomes gets stopped through the air, they're going to try to lean on the run game. Well, unfortunately, in Kansas City's sake, they haven't had a 100-yard rusher since Kareem Hunt did it in Week 9. Going against this Eagles run defense, good luck.
All right. Once again, that's 3 viewing this from an Eagles perspective. Once again, it's on a tee for you. Harry Lyles, most important unit Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my Chiefs hat on here. It's all about this Chiefs defense because of the things that they're going to have to do to keep them in this football game. One, you have to slow down Saquon Barkley. He is the most consistent player on either side of this football team, or on either side of this game, rather. The other thing that you have to do by slowing him down, it's not just about necessarily limiting him. It's making it so you can have 3rd and long and 4th and long, because the other thing that you have to stop is getting the Eagles off of the field. This is one of the best teams in the NFL at converting on second and third and short and fourth and short because of the tush push. So it's not just like they're any other team when it comes to stopping those things. And so that's why this Chiefs defense has to do that. You have to get them off the football field and create turnovers. The Eagles have been the best team throughout the postseason in turnover differential. You have to take the football away from them and create more opportunities for your offense.
10 takeaways, 0 giveaways for Philadelphia. Let's keep it going. Most bold prediction for Sunday around the horn. Courtney Cronin, why don't you start us off here?
I've got a good one, and I'm going to pick up what Harry was just putting down, talking about how good the Eagles are at executing the tush push, how good the Chiefs were at stopping it in the AFC Championship game. How about a fake tush push with a game-winning touchdown pass to A.J. Brown?
So you approach with the tush push, and then you pull it back. I'm down for a bold prediction. Tim Kalishaw, bold prediction Sunday.
My bold prediction is Kendrick Lamar is going to go deep into his catalog to feature some Pimp a Butterfly.
Wow.
2015
I didn't
release.
know you had this in you.
You know, a lot of people aren't looking for that, but I think he's going to go strong.
Okay, and for the thank you very much, Tim Kalishaw.
Oh, you want something for the game? Okay. For the game, yes, the Eagles defense is going to score a touchdown. They've been the best in takeaways, and it's going to be one of the rookies, either Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper
Lynn
DeJean
Yates,
scoring.
around the one of you.
I think that the way the NFL has evolved has been interesting to watch week to week, and as a result, there will be less than a handful of punts in this game. I think you're going to see more fourth down goes, just in general, than we've pretty much ever seen in a game of this size. The guys just aren't going to want to kick it away. They're going to keep the
Is that
ball.
a bold prediction right here? National panel gives up thumbs up or thumbs down that Clinton doesn't think there's going to be many punts in this
okay.
game.
It's all right.
Harry Lyles Jr. Oh, we'll give it the point now. Bold prediction.
Let's go Philly Special 2.0, right? Let's get Jalen Hurts in there. Nick Sirianni's going to give us a little attitude, get us Philly Special 2.0, and he will become the first player in Super Bowl history to run, pass, and catch a touchdown.
Sounds like you have a high schooling game here. If I were a detective,
Like that.
I am picking up some clues here about where this game is going, and I'm going to ask for your picks right now. Now is the time to make it official. Clinton Yates, who you got?
I got the Chiefs. I'm not picking against Pat Mahomes.
Oh, after everything you just said about Philly. Okay. Tim Kalishaw, who you got?
The Eagles get their second Lombardi trophy, 30-17.
Courtney Cronin.
Eagles 31-27, Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl MVP.
Harry Lyles Jr.
Chiefs 31-28. Mahomes is the GOAT.
That's this panel. Here's the rest of our panelists' predictions. Counting up the tally. KC gets 12. Philadelphia gets 8.
A lot of red.
We'll be back with Buy or Sell.
Oh.
MVP. Here are the final votes. That was a very anvil dropping sound effect. Thank you. One of the closest races in years. Josh Lamar, Josh Lamar. Maybe Saquon, Josh Lamar. It went back and forth. Just when it looked like Jackson had it locked down because he was All-Pro 1, voters flipped and made Allen MVP 1. Also, a bit of intrigue midday when a whole lot of gambling action landed on Allen, moving odds in his favor. What did they know? Clinton Yates, around the horn to you. Buy or sell Allen for MVP?
I'm selling this. I don't understand how a guy like Lamar gets first team All-Pro and then turns around and can't win the MVP. And then the logic becomes, oh, he did more with less. I mean, okay, but that's not what I'm buying as my reason for voting for an MVP in the National Football League. I don't care about that as a rationale. As far as I'm concerned, Lamar Jackson is just a better football player. That's it.
Harry Lyles Jr., I'll go around the horn to you. You had this one right about week 12 of the season or so, 13. There you go.
Yeah, this is one of those that it sort of has Heisman flavors to it because to me this award was about moments and also, again, what he did with the team. I personally thought the Buffalo Bills were not going to be all that good this year and that it was going to be a reloading year for them, and that was absolutely not the case. I think the thing, Clinton, to your point, having him not be the first team All-Pro quarterback and then winning the MVP is messed up. I would have personally been fine with them splitting the award the last time that happened in 2003 with Steve McNair and Peyton Manning. That would be fine, but to me, I think if we're doing semantics and we go by most valuable player to his team, I'm okay with Josh Allen being that
Courtney
guy.
Cronin.
I'm not surprised with it. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think this comes down to Lamar Jackson voter fatigue. We've seen this happen in the NBA. I think it's happening right now in the NFL. Josh Allen does have more of those MVP moments, whether it's the 26-yard touchdown run on 4th and 2 to ice the game against the Chiefs, running, throwing, and catching a touchdown pass against the San Francisco 49ers. And, frankly, he's playing some of the best football of his career. It does not mean that Lamar Jackson isn't, but we have known Josh Allen to turn the ball over a lot throughout the first 6 years of his career. What we saw this season, lowest percentage of plays that resulted in a sack, fumble, or interception. That's the lowest mark ever for anybody since the NFL merger in 1970.
Tim Kalisha, buy or sell Allen over Jackson for MVP.
I buy Allen, and I hope it's not voter fatigue. If Lamar deserved it, or if Nikola Jokic deserved it, or a decade ago, if Mike Trout deserved about 5 in a row, and voter fatigue kept that from happening, I don't like that. I don't really understand the idea that, and several voters had to do this, you vote one for the MVP and the other for your first-team quarterback. Seems like that has to be the same player to me, and you're drawing some weird line around that word
And
valuable.
then the idea more with less is another one. Yes, he didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver, Allen, and his running back got to 1,000 in the game they basically didn't play in at the very end of the season. But there was more for Jackson, more yards for Jackson, more passing touchdowns and fewer interceptions. So it's not more, it's less with less, but a lot to begin with. We'll move on. Hall of Fame, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, and Sterling Sharp. That is this year's class. Only 4. That's the smallest class in 20 years. Eli Manning's first ballot, he did not qualify, as well as Kuechly, Suggs, Yonda, Holt, Wayne, Vinatieri. But for starters, let's start on Eli Manning, because this has been a hot button topic. Not getting in on the first ballot, buy or sell Eli Manning's Hall of Fame case, Kalisha.
Well, I'm buying what the voters did. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. I think he's a great guy. I think he's funny on the Manning cast. I think he had 2 remarkable playoff runs when they won very low-scoring Super Bowl. They didn't win quarterback shootouts. And for his career, he was 2 games over 500. And I hate to put it there, but for 10 years, when he and Tony Romo went against each other, you didn't go into the game thinking the Giants had the better quarterback. Tony Romo had a better 10-year run than Eli did for his 16.
It didn't seem like you hate to do that. It seemed like you enjoyed doing that, taking the Dallas quarterback.
No, I don't really. You'd be surprised how little I enjoyed that.
Courtney Cronin on Eli Manning's Hall of Fame resume and not getting in?
The only reason I'm surprised that he didn't get in is because there was this idea that he knew what his status was going to be, and Peyton Manning didn't. So why would that have been teased if it was, I'm not getting in on the first ballot? The first ballot Hall of Famers are in a class of their own. He has 2 Super Bowls to his name. I think eventually he will get in, but the committee had too much disagreement on whether it was the Super Bowls or the other accolades that he didn't have. Never got an MVP vote, never was part of the all-decade team, never received a single all-pro vote. He has the numbers that some other quarterbacks of that era did, but there's still about 4 or 5 other quarterbacks that played around that time. Aaron Rodgers, Drew
So it sounds
Brees,
like
Ben
you don't think he's
Roethlisberger.
got the Hall of Fame resume, but you do think he'll get in at some point.
I think he has a resume that is worthy of being a Hall of Famer, but certainly not a first ballot.
Harry
Hall of
Lyles
Famer.
Jr.?
Yeah, I think the only reason people were considering him for first ballot is because of his last name. And I don't say that as a dig on him. I just think that's the case. I think, though, that he does belong in the Hall of Fame because he beat what we consider to be the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl, including stopping their perfect season. So I think because of that, you have to include him in the Hall of Fame. I think there are much bigger gripes.
So that sounds like you can't tell the history of the game without Eli Manning type argument that Harry Lyles is making.
No, but
the whole team beat Brady.
There would be a
He
lot
didn't
more
beat
guys
Brady. I mean,
because they're peaks.
Clinton Yates, around the horn to you.
You can't tell the history of Tom Brady without mentioning Elisha Nelson Manning. That is a real thing for me. It's still called the Hall of Fame. And last time I checked, this guy is living on Rings Mountain. You all want to sit up here and yell at me all the time about who doesn't have Super Bowl rings and who does. Well, he's got 2 against the GOAT. I'm sorry. That's enough
Tim
for me.
Kalisha, you want to tell me about another quarterback with 2 rings that's not in the Hall of Fame?
Well, Jim Plunkett is not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we can't tell the story of the NFL without Timmy Smith and his 200 rushing yards. There's a lot of people we can't tell the story, but that doesn't mean they're Hall of Famers.
Let's not tell the story of Hall of Fame Day just through Eli Manning's eyes, though. All right? The guys that got in, we talked about Antonio Gates, we talked about Sterling Sharp, and then the guys who didn't get out, Luke Kuechly, not getting in this moment. Courtney Cronin, please, around the horn to you.
I don't like that one. He's getting the Patrick Willis treatment because he retired from the game early. So obviously he's an automatic qualifier for next year. I'm sure he'll get in then. But Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time All-Pro. Twice he led the league in combined tackles. This guy has a first ballot Hall of Fame resume. He just decided that he wanted to take care of his body and his brain, and we're going to penalize him for that. Oh, well.
Yeah, I'd go Torrey Holt. I mean, he's one of the best receivers that we've ever seen, one of the most consistent receivers that we've ever seen, was on one of the best offenses that we have ever seen. That has one of the best nicknames, the greatest show on turf, Torrey Holt.
You can't tell the history of the game without talking about the greatest nicknames of all time. Yes. Clinton Yates, last word to you on this.
The best story of Canton is going to be the Sharp brothers. We all remember when Shannon got up there and made his Hall of Fame speech and the emotion that evoked in his brother Sterling, who's now in. I'm sorry. That is an incredible situation for two guys to be in the Hall.
I watched that. I watched that. Shannon giving his speech and saying, I'm not even the best player in my family. And they cut to Sterling, and he takes that big, deep breath. Oh, I live in that moment. That is just incredible. Looking forward to a sequel of that. Clinton Yates, thank you for your time. Don't go too far. I want to give you a shout out later. Kalishaw, you can go pretty far. Cronin, Lyles, showdown next.
Got me and the wife there. Oh, we're gonna have a romantic evening. Go out there. No rent-a-car. What do you mean? You never called for the rent-a-car? I told you she's Greek. Yeah, they must have lost it. So, of course, I forgot to call. Now they're out of cars.
That was Rob Ryan's intro press conference as he's been hired as assistant head coach of defense for the USC Trojans. Courtney, grade that press conference.
All he needs is a white Russian and to tell us that the rug really tied the room together to morph into the dude from The Big Lebowski. I'm not entirely sure who he was talking to, but A+, bring the crazy. You coach defense. This is all about that.
Harry Lyles Jr.
Courtney, you're right that it's an A for vibes, but it is a D for choreography. I am certain Rob Ryan is familiar with the Temptations. You could do whatever song and dance you want, but when you get away from the microphone, brother, you got to move on back to that thing and begin your song and dance and start singing again into the microphone, man. Come on.
I know there's winning the press conference and not winning the press conference. This one could have been an email. We know how Rob Ryan operates and this one could. Courtney, you're to win today. What would your FaceTime be?
My FaceTime would be a happy trails to Mike Woodson.
And Harry Lyles Jr.
The Kendrick Lamar songs I'm trying to hear on Sunday.
Well, there we go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Look, Kendrick Lamar, the best halftime show would be him just repeating Not Like Us until the NFL kicks him off the stage. But in the case that he cannot do that, here are the other 5 songs that I would like to hear. The first one, we got to get something from the new stuff. We got to get Luther on there. Backstreet Freestyle from Good Kid, Mad City. We got to get that in there. King's Dead, I'm going to do my best deal with this that I can. I just had it called La-di-da-di-da. We really need that. Love, got to have that one in there as well. And to send a message at the end, baby, we gon' be all right. We need that one. Please, Kendrick, give us all of it.
Kalishaw approves. The dude abides there. The hole underneath the ocean that Drake's going to be living in during then there, brother. All right, Super Weekend. Enjoy it. We'll be back Monday, my favorite show. But also before that, the premiere of Clinton and Friends, ESPN Radio, 10 Eastern.